Isn't it possible that between that time and now, they must have seen some kind of difference in the political parties? Some people must have decamped, some must have left your party to go with the ruling ACN.
See, when people move in a political party, it is not the entire house that moves. It's always one or two people that have contacts here, contacts there, who are needed that move. And you see, politicians are not as irresponsible as they are sometimes made to look. Some people consider themselves fundamental key members of a political party and they will never move. In any case, what we have seen is that relative to the movement of people, our people have remained where they are. There are some locations, you see,
by your people, you mean your members or those who vote for you?
There are some key card-carrying members of a political party. Those ones are called interested stakeholders. There are other members of the public who are entitled, they can come and vote, they are the owners of the state, the citizens. Some of them usually have a level of apathy that is not so exciting when it comes to small elections like local government elections. But card-carrying members of a political party will not sit out a local government election. The reason is simple. It is the local government election that has a bigger impact on the life of the rank and file. If you send somebody to the presidency, or you send him to the state, or you send him to the Senate, how often are you going to see him? But when you don't have a state government, you don't have your party in government at the state, the next best thing for your party followers that means so much to them is the grassroots election.
In this election, let's talk about movements now. In this election, did you have any candidates of yours at the local government elections that had already been nominated, not aspirants now, but candidates who moved from the PDP to the ACN?
The ACN, even the ACN governor is a former PDP man. The People's Democratic Party of Nigeria in Ogun State is the big party there that enjoys the love, the support, and the followership. Any political party that comes in Ogun State, for you to have a chance, you will have to look at somebody in PDP and be dragging him and be pulling him to come. They cannot cultivate new people with new ideologies to come to their state. So when you look at even what they call the ACN now, with due respect to Aremo Shoba and his own followers who are being called AD people who moved into ACN, the others that are masquerading as ACN people are PDP people. The governor of the state, Senator Ebikola Amosu, that senator will add to his name. It's an appellate he got from the PDP.
Yes, but I'm asking if in the process of that, in the process of trying to take people from the PDP, yes, he was able to get anybody who had already been given the PDP candidature in the local government elections,
none whatsoever,
and who moved to the ACN after he had been selected a candidate on the platform of the PDP. You're sure none of that happened?
No.
Because the ACN claims that even the PDP could not hold its own members during the elections, that some of them who had become candidates in the local government elections on the platform of the PDP defected to the ACN.
Yes, you can say that when you are talking to kindergartens, people who don't know what exactly happens in the real business of election. I am the director of organization of the PDP, with due respect. I was the director general of the Jonathan Sambo election in Ogun State. I was a senior special assistant to Governor Daniel.
So you're not aware.
I know what I'm talking about.
You're not aware of any of those kinds of movements.
You see, when you build a joke that even by your own interpretation and your own standards falls beneath what you should identify yourself with, you must then begin to look for all concoctments of lies to make that your embarrassing picture that you have dressed yourself in begin to look right. In the first instance, there are contentious legal issues in that election. One of them is that there was an ESCO in place in the PDP that conducted the primaries and got candidate, enjoying about 80 to 75% of the followership of PDP. That ESCO was meant to give a list to Ogisek. Ogisek collected the list. The Federal High Court gave a judgment that that's the list you should use. The State High Court gave a ruling. That's the list you should use. So many important and interested people persuaded that Ogisek, this is the list. You think they will listen? No, they didn't listen. They chose to go and start tying themselves up to a group that we know was relatively weak.
But why is it always like that? You know, when PDP was there, when Governor Daniel then,
Yes.
when Daniel was governor,
Yes.
it was all a PDP affair in the local government. Now an ACN has come, you have 20 local governments in Ogun State. So 19 were sworn in on Monday. So it's more or less like an ACN thing. Why is it always like that? When the governor is in party A, everyone in the local government is also the same political party with the governor.
That's painful. But you should not expect that society will stay in the same place and be decaying on the same spot. One of the reasons why one party gets voted out of government and another one is given a chance to come is because there's a broader belief in the mind of the people that things will be different. You don't go out on a change platform if you want to maintain the status quo. And if you are going to try to maintain the status quo, you should at least do it with the sophistry that those that were doing it before did it. You cannot come in there and start behaving like a hooligan and you are trying to maintain the status quo before when you have campaigned on the platform of change. Indeed, even though during the last era, you should give it to the former governor. He was a very sophisticated mobilizer, quite capable of mesmerizing people. And so even if you think that that was not right, and you who have gone through about 3 or 4 elections, who know the implication of people being cheated or people being strong-armed and all that, how can you now be superintending on the stage and allow that to happen over your watch? One would have expected in the minimum that you are supposed to bring a better understanding of how political organizations should run and how elections should be conducted. But when you begin to, look, I'm telling you, members of that party now started putting on garbs of Ogisek, people that we know that are card-carrying members of that party, wearing the garbs of Ogisek and marching all over the place.
You know, I find it very interesting that you went to the federal government as federal court to obtain a ruling, which you got. And then when the Ogisek told you that they are not bound by that ruling, you went to the state court and you also got the same ruling. It's interesting that the government, which has been overbearing on a state independent electoral body, has not been overbearing on the court. And that you still have some amount of confidence in the court, even though it's in a state controlled by a person that's not your party.
Mark, well, what constitutes overbearing on the court? The business, you cannot be overbearing on the court. The court system is designed in such a way that anybody can approach the court. And when the court makes a pronouncement, essentially the ingredient for you as chief executive is to ensure that the law is complied with. If the court gives a ruling in my favor, and because you are the man that is the executive authority that can make that ruling come into effect, you don't put it into effect, you are not hurting me, really. You are undermining the integrity of society. You are pushing society to the precipice of a breakdown of law and order. Because in the first instance, did they obey those orders?
Will you be going to the courts now? Sorry.
Post-election,
yes,
we will definitely be trying the hardest to get the courts to annul it on the basis of elimination. If you look at what they did an election on Saturday. We probably did not finish collating and whatever they call their coalition, they didn't do it until maybe about Sunday, the elections started coming out. And first thing on Monday morning, the 19 candidates, anointed Democrats of the ACN anti-progressive school of politics were already garbed in Ashwebi with specially made headgear. When did they even have the time to do that? Did they really know in advance that they are going to? And they already been sworn in. Wow. Not waiting to even see maybe the courts will have an opinion on the election. Maybe tribunal will have an opinion.
Well, the way it works, sorry to butt in there, the way it works, they will be sworn in and the case will be in court. So
of course that is going to happen, but you think if you tarried about a week or so just to tidy up the thing, it will be so bad?
Well,
why, if you do an election on Saturday, why are we not finishing the presidential election on Saturday and swearing in the president on Monday morning? Why don't we do it like that?